are with them. At one time we would have had the CPEP and these other agencies getting ready to go up the islands to assist our brothers and sisters in CARICOM when these type of disasters take place. At this present time, we are unable to do that. So, and my friends, it is a real disaster that has happened and is taking place in Jamaica. The land of Michael Holden, Usain Bolt, Jeff Dujon, and these people, my friends. Yeah. Yes, my friends, one of the reasons why I'm here this morning, well, we all know what has happened in the Venezuelan parliament and what took place and what has been said. We all know. And we all know the outcome as it relates to we will no longer be getting gas and oil to keep our energy sector afloat and alive. That is besides the Dragon gas deal that we was trying to add to what we already had with them, my friends. So that is out of the way. And it is only fair that, our Prime Minister, because she have openly declared that we don't need the Venezuelan gas, where even in the Venezuelan parliament, you would see where they were declaring that our Prime Minister, even the word crawl as a worm, it is in the Guardian newspapers today, my friends. This is the description that have been used in the Parliament of Venezuela, describing our Prime Minister, who is now claiming that we don't need the Venezuelan gas, my friends. And in the newspapers here, it is said, and Venezuelans' independence to declare this woman who crawls like a worm, persona non grata. So that is when they were declaring her a non-entity in Venezuela. They add crawling like a worm to our Prime Minister for the very gas that she now is saying that we don't need. That she secretly went behind our backs to get the OFAC license from America, unknowing to us, without telling us, without informing us. Yeah. But all of a sudden, we don't need. When she came into office, she said that our gas problems and energy problems will be solved via Guyana and Grenada. That the evidence is there that was a lie, it was not truth. Now it is only fair that she come to us again and tell us where and who will supply us with the gas that is needed to maintain whatever livelihood is left in Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. That is one of the things that we're going to be discussing. But another thing that I want to share with you and discuss a bit is a statement that our Prime Minister made and certain political analysts are now analyzing and putting their opinion in the papers. And this morning there are two in particular. One, a man named Peter Wickham, and another one, Dr. Shane Mohammed. On page 6 of the Guardian, you can find their analysis of the statement as though CARICOM has abandoned or turned their backs on Trinidad and Tobago, and in fact CARICOM did not support our Prime Minister, So there are different opinions. And one of those persons, well, Dr. Shane Mohammed, said that he supports the position of the Prime Minister, that CARICOM seemed to have failed us or failed the region. And Dr. Wickham, not doctor, but political analyst Peter Wickham, his position is opposite to Dr. Mohammed. And he said that there's no evidence that Kamla Prasad Bisesa has produced to support the claim that she's making. And also, even when Dr. Mohammed is making the claim that he's supporting Kamla Prasad Bisesa, he has failed to produce any evidence in the newspapers, in his take, to support his claim that he is making also in support of Kamla Prasad Bisesa's position. My friends, the reason why now I take the statement that Kamla Prasad Bisesa would have made, that as though Venezuela, the CARICOM would have sided with Venezuela. And siding with Venezuela, I mean you side with Venezuela against Trinidad and Tobago. And that, my friends, there is no truth in it. There is no truth in it. Just earlier this year, not long after the UNC came into office, there was the CARICOM heads of government that's held whenever it is being held. But it so happened that not long after they came into office, the UNC came into office, CARICOM heads of government was being called or was supposed to meet. And our Prime Minister chose not to attend to discuss matters that is important to Trinidad and Tobago and the region with her peers, with CARICOM, my friends. CARICOM had a meeting without her. She sent 2 representatives who, well, we know who they are and what was the outcome. But she did not see it fit to make the effort to attend the CARICOM heads of government meetings, my friend. And then there was another meeting in Africa where they invited us, including CARICOM members, state also, to come. And our Prime Minister also got an opportunity to go to Africa and see what they have to offer and make deals and see what she could bring home. She also refused. More than that, when our Prime Minister came into office in 2010, my friends, as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago for the first time, she, besides stopping the OPVs and the things that are supposed to prevent the drug trade from growing in the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago, the transshipment point that we are at, besides stopping those hardware, those guns and boats and helicopters from coming and cancelling it, she also made a statement informing our CARICOM brothers and sisters that Trinidad and Tobago is no longer an ATM machine, my friends. So don't look for us for no help and no money. That is the statement that she would have made in 2010 when she came into government. So since down there, yeah. Now it is sad that she, after what she has done on her own and by herself, even making statements openly, just as Donald Trump said America is first, Kamla Prasad Bisesa said Trinidad is first, and the first is alone. Just as America says first there is alone. They even went to isolate their own neighbor Canada and that kind of thing, want to annex Canada to America, all them kind of thing. Our Prime Minister, America have Homeland Security, we have Homeland Security. Not so? Yeah. Now, our Prime Minister went to the United Nations on the world stage, yeah, to represent us and what is happening here in the Caribbean and what problems she have in the Caribbean to tell the world. Yeah. And what she did there, she said that we, meaning Trinidad and Tobago, will fight fire with fire. She did not say that we are happy to have America fighting the drug trade and the drug lord, and we are in full support of Donald Trump and President Trump. She did not say that. She said we will fight fire with fire, knowing fully well we don't even have a proper slinging shot. The reason why I'm reminding you all of this, my friends, if you go back and read her speech in the United Nations, she failed to even acknowledge and praise Donald Trump. Yeah. His name was mentioned once in that speech, and it was in reference to something he would have said. Yeah. So here it is. She presented herself to the United Nations as though she and our country was declare war on the drug trade, my friends. All right. What do you think it done there? Well, her response to what happened in Venezuela in the parliament, her response is in the newspapers today. This Guardian here. This Guardian here. The same, this, page 5. Now page 6 of the Guardian have the two analysts as to the statement at CARICOM. But page 5 have what took place in the Venezuelan parliament yesterday. Good. And it also have Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our Prime Minister, response. I'm just going to read all part here. The Prime Minister said her government will continue with drug interdiction efforts against narco traffickers in international waters. Yeah, what her response to the Venezuelan declaration in Parliament? She said, the Prime Minister said her government, meaning the government of Trinidad and Tobago, will continue with drug interdiction efforts against narco traffickers in international waters. Trinidad and Tobago, which part of our security apparatus has been fighting and blowing up and interdicting and fighting narcotic drug runners in international waters? This is news to us here, you know. What boat, what Coast Guard boat and vessels and equipment that we have that is being used to fight and kill drug traffickers in international waters, my friends? This is in the newspapers here. This is in the newspapers here, my friends. So the statement, the lie that she told in the United Nations, and that's what it was. It is continuing, my friends. Let me read that again. I feel the Guardian, I'm not reporting this lady thing properly, you know. They do that over and over. Hear what it says, my friends. This is our Prime Minister in response to the Venezuelans telling her that she is non-existent to them. She now is saying, don't bother with that. The Prime Minister said her government will continue with drug interdiction efforts against narco traffickers in international waters. Over 10,000 murders in the last 20 years, in addition to thousands of violent crimes being committed. Yeah. That is what happened in Trinidad in the last 20 years. Over 10,000 persons have been murdered. And she and her government and our government will not stop fight the drug traffickers as we are doing at this present time in international waters. My friends, are you listening to what he's saying, what you're hearing there? So it's not America is doing it, my friend. It's not Donald Trump is doing it. It's Kamla Persad-Bissessar and our military is blowing up these boats with these people with no evidence to show that these people were really trafficking in drugs, you know. This is the claim that she's bringing on herself as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, as though we are doing this, you know, and supporting that, you know. My friends, one must now pause a bit and wonder if our Prime Minister is okay mentally, my friends. Because this clearly seemed to be a delusion that she's walking about with in her mind, and she's convinced herself that that is what is happening and what she is doing. My friends, a lady named Michaela Pandey, she in charge of some political party in Trinidad and Tobago. About a month ago, if so long ago, she went down Cedras, Icacus, one of our closest points with Coast Guard boat and vessel docking to, and guarding down that point. And she reported back to Trinidad and Tobago, we only have one good working Coast Guard vessel to man the whole strip down there. Now our Prime Minister, she went to the United Nations, and she is saying here that she will continue to support Donald Trump in his fight and his fight and America fight. She is saying that, my friends. The language she has placed herself, just as how they placed Homeland Security from America in Trinidad, yeah? She has placed herself and replaced Donald Trump, my friends. She has replaced Donald Trump as the person who's doing it, and she's saying, we are doing that. My friend, that is very close, if not mental illness, you know. This is serious, and this is the person who is in check. That is why we end up in all that trouble in Venezuela, you know. She does not even understand the benefit that we are in fact getting from Venezuela, that she said we don't need the Venezuelan gas and oil, my friends. She is not well. Our Prime Minister is not well. In 6 months, we end up in a total disaster, my friends. And our Prime Minister responds to what happened with them in Venezuela, two things. She's saying it's CARICOM. CARICOM is now siding with Venezuela. Yeah. So she's lying. She decided to lie. And it's not the first time she said it, my friends. She decided to lie on our CARICOM neighbors, my friends. Yeah. All they keep doing is reminding her of the CARICOM stance. Yeah? And she, besides not going and attend the meeting where she could have said to them what she wanted to tell them, she used our local media here and international media and went all about the place. Yeah? Ridiculing them. Yeah? Now, she's trying to blame them, my friends. CARICOM, our neighbors, are aware that Kamla Persad-Bissessar would have cancelled the vessels that was being brought to this country to interdict and to fight and to blow up the drug traffickers, the drug lords, the drug runners, the human traffickers, blow them out of the water. That is the kind of firepower a man called Patrick Manning went and paid the British to send for we here. And it came and fell on her lap. She came into office, and my friend, let me tell you this. I have a colleague that I went to school with, yeah, was in England preparing, yeah, to bring these ships home, yeah, doing drills, yeah, and the helicopters and the fast boat to actually fight and to make sure and keep our community safe and Trinidad and Tobago safe. And you know what? She canceled all of them. CARICOM didn't know that. Where CARICOM was. Because what was coming was also to secure some of our CARICOM neighbors, borders and all, my friends. That was the kind of firepower was coming. Yeah. And she said, no, we don't want that here. No. What we want, because our fight against the drug traffickers and the gun runners and the human traffickers is on land. Now, the reason why, listen, what I just shared with you here, is it that this analysis, and this man here they call Dr. Shane Mohammed, what I just shared with you about the OPVs and the guns and the missiles to shoot these boats and them out of the water, these fast boats, no boat again will be fast, with helicopters and things. Is it that he didn't know that that happened in Trinidad and Tobago in 2010? That is his job. My friends, I am not no analyst, no way, and I know that, and the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, and everybody knows that. So if you know that Kamala Persad would have cancelled these things, how then could you join and saying that you're agreeing with she that CARICOM has failed? How? She has failed us and CARICOM and betrayed us and betrayed CARICOM, my friends. That's what she have done. But now, if one analyzes it, it may not be her fault. Yeah, we may not, you know, it is quite possible that our Prime Minister is mentally ill, my friends. It is quite possible that our Prime Minister is delusional. And that is the person we have in charge. Anybody who is close to our Prime Minister, try and get her to visit one of our top psychiatrists in this country, you know. Carry her. Let her visit, because the things that she is saying is dangerous things. And look what happened already in 6 months. It's 5 years that we have to deal with, you know. 6 months, my friends. Look how much problems we in already. And now she's saying, well, the Venezuelan people, they're telling she, well, go and see if you could find the gas you're talking about. That you don't need gas, with the kind of generous deal we give all you, go and see if they can find it. That's what they say in the newspapers here. So even if she find a place, because clearly there's nowhere close to us at this moment you could get the gas and the oil. So it will have a cost. So it looked like, you ever hear the candle costing more than the funeral? My friends, it is quite possible Kamala Persad and her government would have now placed Trinidad and Tobago in such a position that the candle is now going to cost more than the funeral. My friends, our Prime Minister, I always was, you know why I remember this and let's talk about this? Because it had me confused. How and what could make a Prime Minister cancel? And not long after, we saw videos and pictures of the very ships, OPVs, and with these high power weapons sailing and guarding the Brazilian coastline and in the Coast Guard, my friends. And now she is saying, for the disaster that she has created, she is now saying that it's CARICOM to blame. And you know, it have people with doctor to the name, doctor this and doctor that, coming and trying to convince the people of Trinidad and Tobago what she's saying is the truth. It's in the newspapers here. What kind of people are we dealing with here, my friends? What kind of a sick people we dealing with here? My friends, I could recommend some good psychiatrists, you know. Well, Dr. Ghani, he died. Yeah. We have Professor, in fact, Dr. Nokolo, you could go and check him. Yeah. Go and check Dr. Nokolo. We are the medical chief of staff in St. Anne's at the moment. Check him. Yeah. Because our Prime Minister, my friends, based, and this is not, listen, you know why this article is important to me? Because I would have followed her speech at the United Nations, my friend. And that is where she declared, we will fight fire with fire. Yes, we. I said, oh, when we were fighting fire with fire, What fire we have to fight with? Any fire coming towards we fighting fire. Whoever shot at we, and we have to shoot back at them. That we. So she took all the credit that was supposed to go to Donald Trump, President Trump, my friends. And that is why I suspect that they gave her the OFAC license to go to Venezuela, knowing fully well what is written in the license. She will not get anything except embarrassment, my friends. That is what happened. She left America, came down here and says, good news. Good news. What was the good news? We going to get billions of dollars in oil and gas from a gas field in Venezuela. And Venezuela, who own it, the billions of dollars for we to live on the party and the fet and the thing. And you know, we have a kind of big plan and budget. And the Venezuelans who own it, they ain't getting nothing from it. That is what the OFAC license, when we ask them, the opposition asking them, what is the terms and conditions? They say that's secret. They can't tell we. So we have to thank the Venezuelan Vice President, yeah, Miss Delcy Rodriguez, for telling the people of Trinidad and Tobago, because it's a con job. Had to be. There had to be a con job. You trying to pull on the people and them. That is, they send you with an OFAC license that you jumping up. They're telling them, listen, allow us. You sign here, Maduro, sign here. Yeah. She was able to forget that Maduro is a drug, narcotic pusher, government, human trafficker, gun runner. She forget all of that. America sent you with a license to take billions of dollars in oil and gas from Venezuela, and they must not get a cent from it. Yeah. And that is the news that they brought back to Trinidad and Tobago. And now people in this country jumping up. Yeah. After lying and saying it dead, the deal dead. Yeah. Quietly, yeah, about 3 weeks into office, wrote without telling us, we are looking at the Dragon deal, people. We are looking. We know we better talk it. Although no, I not for it, but we in a kind of funny position, so I'm going and see if I could, nothing like that. Yeah. Look what happened now. Look what happened. Yeah. And you see this doctor here? Doctor, what do you call him? Dr. Shane Mohammed? He should be ashamed of himself. Dr. Shane Mohammed. Yeah. And it's not he alone, my friends. All kind of important sounding and looking people in our society. Yeah. And that could be part of the problem. They're afraid to tell her the truth. Yeah. That is what it is. That is all I know. Because if it tells you the truth, she might throw out the party. Or whatever position you had or was given or promised, you wouldn't get it. Yeah. About me, not country. And that is what it was. Yeah. If they were putting country first, my friends, we never end up in this situation with Venezuela. Yeah. I saw my friends, they're saying that Dr. Rowley would have signed for America to come and bring the ships landing here. My friends, since I'm small, America, it's an agreement with America, ships coming here and visiting, and since I'm small, doing all kind of visiting schools, that is part of the relationship that we have with America. Yeah. Yeah. But the same Dr. Rowley, who was able to sign such a nice deal with them, was still able to let them know, we're not supporting you when all you're doing stupidness. Or when we think it is not right, or we will abstain and remain as CARICOM. Yeah. No. Because my friends, sometime it's going to come and it will be over. Yeah. So when it is over, is we and Venezuela left neighbor by neighbor still, next door. Yeah. Yeah. One good thing happened, and I felt a bit I felt good about it, is that the Venezuelan ambassador was able to meet with the opposition leader to reassure Trinidad and Tobago, my friends, that they will not allow one dunce person, they will not allow one dunce person to totally destroy the relationship that was built between Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM, and the people of Venezuela, my friends. And that is why, you see them two flags there? That is why they are there. That is why, you see those two flags? Because the people of Venezuela must never forget. And the people of Trinidad, these people are our neighbors. They have always been. And we are not their enemies. We are not their enemies. And you know the Venezuelan, a man, I think his name is George. You know George, George Rodriguez. When he presented the case in the parliament in Venezuela, he and all might be saying, well, she real crazy, like she mad, like she didn't understand. It's one of the largest oil and gas reserve in the world you tap into. That's what he's saying in the thing. So we actually saying like our prime minister, she mad. So he tells you go now and find. Since you don't need we oil and gas. You can imagine that? Well, I want to tell them people in Venezuela and we need them gas and all that, Mr. Maduro and Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Delcy Rodriguez, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you know we need it and we know we need it. We may not get it because of what is happening now, but we will need it in the future because that is what we don't have. We don't have. And the people that we were walking about, I don't know who was advising our prime minister while in opposition, because a big announcement is that Guyana and Grenada have it for we. I don't know who was telling she that. And then when the whole thing collapsed now, she is now blaming CARICOM and have people coming in the newspapers and maybe all on the radio and wherever else, trying to blame everybody else except making a proper analysis of our prime minister and her mental state, my friends. What could make our prime minister go to the United Nations knowing fully well we don't have anything to shoot at anybody and say we're fighting fire with fire? Now she is saying that she and her government will not stop fighting and blowing up drug traffickers in international waters. I didn't write this. I don't know if the Guardian misprint. It must be a misprint. Because a man that sing a calypso like that, is a misprint, A man called Pink Panther, Nice calypso, Yeah, it's a misprint. So this could be a misprint. So Trinidad and Tobago, all I am concerned about at this moment, and then with the extra pressure that has been placed on our prime minister, her condition could deteriorate, my friends. Because this, and they just part of it. What we end up in here is as a result, my friends, if one analyzes it properly, it is as a result of mental illness, From the time these kind of things could be coming out her mouth and speaking it, and she not keep it on walking about in her head, Yeah. It is in the papers, yeah. It's we who kill them people and them. We who blow up the own Trini, according to the news that came back with these people from Blanchishes or the North Coast there. Where the boat was coming from Venezuela, they say, and two Trini dead. Is we did that? That's what she's saying here. She's saying that we are in full support of the action taken by Donald Trump, President Trump, and America, No, my friends. She is the embodiment of the President of America. And this is how she's seen herself. This is how we end up with Homeland Security replacing national security and whatever security we used to have. And the language is the same, my friends. Trinidad and Tobago, once again, I am very much what happened in Jamaica. I think each one of us, and I guess we would then have to try and see as much as we do have, we have to find some way to sort of put things together, donate little canned stuff and whatever to see if we could send and assist them. Because what I see, the little piece I saw on the phone with people sending and posting, my friends, is not no part of Jamaica. It looked like it's about disaster, like the whole place. And it's a real disaster, you know. And that is CARICOM, that is we, you know. So I think we would make an effort as a people to assist in whatever way we can. And my friends, I am here. Thanks for allowing me this little period in your morning. Until we meet again, keep good.